Dino Costa is on your radio now.
I wouldn't imagine that there's a lot of people that listen to Howard and listen to me at the same time. If we get 3 calls, I'd be very surprised. I would bet, Kaplan, that a large majority, the overwhelming majority of the Howard Stern audience has never even heard my name. I mean, they said Dino Costa. I know that Russo was on Howard a couple times and he mentioned my name. I mean, that'd be the only way, I think.
I got a nighttime guy, Dino Costa. Have you heard of him?
No.
Oh, he's nuts. He kills me constantly.
Really?
I'm a loser. Mike was much better without him.
What kind of team is
I'm a
this?
fraud.
Oh, my God.
I'm the guy who runs the channel.
I can't see how with no promotion of Dino Radio here on SiriusXM, how in the hell people on Howard's show know who the hell I am?
Yeah, how are they even going to find you?
Am I on the website? I'm mentioned a little bit on the SiriusXM website. On my front page on the website as SiriusXM told their marketing people, let's take this tiger by the tail. This guy has got wow factor off the chart, so he's money waiting to be made. He can help with subscriberships. Howard's not going to be around forever. Who knows what we can do with this guy, so on and so forth. He's a very worldly guy, aware, talks about this, talks about that, talks about the other thing. No, they've never done any of this, so how in the hell would people that listen to Howard's show know anything about me? I can't figure it out. Wilton, Connecticut. Chris is on the Dino Costa Show. Hi, Chris.
Hey, I'm a listener of yours, and I'm also a listener of Howard.
Jed is on the Dino Costa Show. Hi, Jed.
I listen to Howard and yourself also. I've been listening to Howard for the better part of 10 years, and I found out about you by my brother. He came to me and said, hey, if you want to hear the real deal and the guy that don't give a fuck about what someone thinks, go listen to Dino Costa. And I've been listening to you for about 4 months now, religiously. I mean, I can't even get out of the truck until you go to commercial break.
107 FM, AM 1290 WCCC. Good morning. My name is Howard Stern. I'm the new morning man on CCC.
Oh, goodness. Heath is in Nashville, Tennessee, USA. He's on the Dino Costa Show on this Wednesday. Hello, Heath.
Hey, Dino. Yeah, I listen to both you and Howard Stern. Howard Stern starts off my day, and I going into work, and I listen to you coming into work. Makes my day.
I'm Motti, station manager, Howard Stern. You want to be a disc jockey? Very much so. I've wanted to be a disc jockey since I was 7 years old. What are you, an idiot?
Joe is in Naples, Florida, USA. Hello, Joe.
Dino, I gotta echo the other callers. You're a tremendous interviewer, and that is part of the draw of your audience as Howard Stern is. Your humor, your cutting-edge style, it's wonderful. And I listen to both, and I know there are a ton of people out there who do. Thanks a lot.
Christian's in New Hampshire, USA, on the Dino Show on this Wednesday. Hi, Christian.
There's no wonder why people listen to you and to Howard. It's because you're strong radio personality. And we gravitate towards those strong radio personalities because we don't like the blah, blah crap that comes out of everyone else.
Okay, you ready? The way it's said properly is WNBC.
WNBC.
No, gotta be more like this. Listen up. WNBC. You hear that kind of lift? The NBC.
WNBC.
You know what? You got to listen to Imus.
Quack, quack. I mean, it just leads you to conclude once again, everything I've done here, I've scraped for and scratched and clawed and bitten and kicked and punched, and I've done it on my own, Kaplan. Now, again, can you imagine where I'd be if SiriusXM ever got behind me?
No, who knows?
Boy, if SiriusXM ever got behind me like the people on Dino TV are getting behind me, forget about it. The world would be my oyster. Oh!
Dino Costa. It's Tuesday across North America and around the world, and you're listening to the worldwide Dino Costa radio experience on SiriusXM's Mad Dog Radio.
Oh, yeah, it is hour number 4 on a Tuesday. Amazing we got to this point. 3 hours in the kitty, but one 60-minute sprint to the finish line at 8 o'clock out on the West Coast and 11 o'clock on the East Coast. And Scott Wetzel. Oh, Scott Wetzel is, what's the under-over on Wetzel doing a nightcap, 2 hours, Kaplan, and of course the All-Star game is being played as I speak. What is the under-over on Wetzel mentioning the Yankees as the Skankies?
I would say at least 7 times. I put the number.
Oh, well. Oh, well. What inning is the game in, by the way?
Bottom of the 6th.
Bottom of the 6th. It might be done by the time I get home.
Maybe.
Who's winning?
Right now the AL's up 2-0.
2-0. Home runs in the game or no?
No home runs.
No home runs. Who's got the RBIs? Who's driven into 2 runs, baby?
Jose Bautista on a sacrifice fly and J.J. Hardy on a ground out.
Aha. 2013 All-Star Game, Citi Field. Maybe the National League will win this in the bottom of the ninth. Exactly the way that the only other time the Mets hosted the All-Star Game was back in 1964, the inaugural season of Shea Stadium. And Johnny Callison of the Phillies, wearing, by the way, a Mets batting helmet, blasted a home run in the bottom of the ninth to propel. Do you love that word, propel? Propelled the National League to the All-Star win back in 1964. Maybe it'll happen here in 2013. You heard Kaplan. He's producing. He's been here all show. How did you like Israel, by the way? I've not asked you.
I liked it a lot. It was a great experience.
How long was the flight?
About 12 hours.
I'll tell you, I get antsy 4 hours on an airplane.
Yeah.
12 hours on an airplane.
Yeah, it's a long one.
Man, did you sleep?
I did. For most of it, I did sleep.
You did?
Yeah.
Did you take anything to get to sleep?
No.
No.
Well, we left at 5 in the morning, so I was tired.
Kaplan's back, and Milan Nevedomsky is with him in the studio in New York. I see here, Kaplan, that our friend John Ziegler just will not. You know, I love John. I really do. I think he's a great guy. He will not let go of this Paterno thing, Kaplan, and apparently he's written a book on his website.
Really?
80,000 words. He put a title on it. He's calling it a book. On the, find out what he's calling this book, by the way.
How is that a book if it's just on a website?
Well, I'm not sure, but I do know that you read books online on your computer.
Yeah, not on websites, though.
Well, is there a difference?
Yeah.
What's the difference? So. What's the difference between reading a book on your tablet and reading a book that John is calling a book on his website? By the way, go to his website. Tell me what the name of the book is. John just can listen, and you know what? I see eye to eye with John on virtually everything. But this Paterno thing, he won't let go. You know, to me, it boils down to a belief one way or another. You know, and what is the name of this book, by the way?
It's called The Betrayal of Joe Paterno.
The Betrayal of Joe Paterno. And apparently John has unearthed some new information, including a transcript here of an interview with a law enforcement official that Paterno spoke with back in October of 2011. This was just a few weeks before Sandusky's arrest. And John frames this interview as evidence that completely, in his mind, contradicts the Free report, which found an email that Free believes proves that Paterno and other top Penn State officials had conspired to conceal Sandusky's behavior from investigators back in 2001. You know, the whole thing here with me is, see, John wants to talk about, you know, he wants to bring up this issue. He wants to talk about that issue. He debates the merits of this argument. He says that this doesn't match up with that, so on and so forth. And while I'll agree that the evidence against Paterno is more what do they call it, Kaplan? Circumstantial?
That's it.
Than anything else. Of course, you can see I'm not a law expert. To me, don't you agree, Kaplan, it comes down to what you believe in terms of instinct? Did Paterno know? Did Paterno have a clue? Did Paterno know on one level or another what Sandusky was, what he was like, what he was up to, the rumors, don't you believe that it comes down to that more than anything?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's hard to question.
I mean, I choose to believe that Paterno had an idea. To what extent, I can't say. But to say that Joe Paterno, to suggest that Paterno did not have an inkling of what was going on. And again, this is old news. I don't plan to stay on this here in the final hour. But I just saw this online that John has this new book out. And what is the name of the website, by the way? That John has?
FramingPaterno.com.
FramingPaterno.com. And I saw this, so I just wanted to comment on it quickly. To me, he knew something. He knew something. And to what degree, this is what I can't answer. But if gun to my head, I've got to be right with my answer. Did Joe Paterno have an inkling that Jerry Sandusky was a little askew, to put it mildly and kindly? My answer would be yes, without any hesitation. Yes. So, but John won't let go of this, man. He's the lone. And John and I agree on the media's misrepresentation of a lot of things. I mean, Lord knows I can't stand most of the mainstream media. They're nothing but maggots, and they've got agendas, and most of them are fueled from a politically correct, ultra-liberal standpoint, and I have major differences with most of the overwhelming majority of the mainstream media. And usually I would fall in line with looking at the way that the media reports on things, and I would probably side with John 9 out of 10 times. But in this instance here, I can't, listen, I've tried to make myself see it as John sees it. I just can't do it. I just can't do it. It's something that's just, it's beyond my my comprehension to think that Joe Paterno did not have some inkling of what Jerry Sandusky was up to during that time. And but John continues to fight it. Why, I don't know. Unless the only reason I can come up with is he's got a fervent belief that Joe Paterno was railroaded. Bottom line. And although John's not alone, I mean, there's, the Penn State community, many in the Penn State community continue to insist that Paterno didn't know, and Paterno had his reputation destroyed and his character assassinated, and I don't see it that way. I don't see it that way at all. I think Paterno knew a lot. How much is a lot? I guess I can't say. But did he know something? Kaplan, if your life depended on your answer, you had to be right. Did Joe Paterno know something about Jerry Sandusky?
Absolutely.
No question in your mind?
No question in my mind. Absolutely not.
All right. So we move on from that. 888-MAD-DOG-6, 888-623, and 3646. Real quick before I go back to the phones, I think it's been clear. And as I viewed the Dwight Howard free agent signing with the Houston Rockets last week, I made mention of the fact that I thought this was a perfect landing spot for Dwight Howard, and that Dwight Howard had finally made a decision that I couldn't find any problem with, and it's probably the first time that Dwight Howard has made a decision that I have not even come close to second-guessing. He left what would have been a circus-like environment and atmosphere in Los Angeles with the Lakers. It was the wrong place for him, the wrong team, the wrong organization, the wrong fit for his skill set, the wrong fit for his career moving forward at this juncture. And I thought that listen, if he had signed with Los Angeles, let me reiterate what I said at the time. If he had signed with Los Angeles, I think that Dwight Howard's career would have flamed out. And a lot of it had to do with comfort. And I'm glad that Dwight Howard was able to resist the overtures and the seductions of Los Angeles and all the trappings and Kobe Bryant and the LA media and all of the celebrities and all this other stuff. And he made a decision independent and on his own, which I think is going to benefit him going forward in a major way. If he's healthy, if Dwight Howard is healthy, I think he gets back to being the dominant big man that he was when he was with Orlando coming up. But he's never sounded better to me. That press conference that was held in Houston last week announcing Dwight Howard's arrival officially as a Houston Rocket, to me, really kind of endorsed and justified everything I'd been saying about Dwight Howard going to a place where he would feel comforted, where he would feel welcome, where he would feel part of a family. To me, it's the perfect organization with the perfect general manager, the perfect coach in Kevin McHale, the perfect owner in Leslie Alexander, the perfect team, and the perfect town for Dwight Howard to get his P's and Q's back together again. I look for big things in Houston with Dwight Howard. I think it's a terrific move. And that press conference that he had last week, I'd never have heard Dwight Howard sounding as sane. I was wondering if I'd ever hear Dwight Howard sound sane again. And to finally hear him sound coherent and comfortable and speaking sense, and not trying to play the role of a clown. And I think he's off to a good start in Houston with the Rockets. think he's off to a real good start with the Rockets. So just that press conference and hearing him really advocated everything I thought about Dwight Howard going to the Houston Rockets. I think it's going to be a good parameter fit for both him, mutually beneficial for both him and for the Rockets organization. To the phones I go. Hour number 4, and started off by going to Yuba City, California. Richard is there, and he's on Dino Radio, Hour 4 on this Tuesday. Hi, Richard.
Hey, Dino, how you doing? First of all, I just want to tell you, you're the second coming of Rush Limbaugh. I don't know if you agree with that, but, dude, I love you, man. You tell it like it is. I would, instead of calling it Mad Dog, I'd call it Matt Costa Match. Second of all, I went, as a kid, I used to live in Hunters Point. I know a lot of people probably don't know where that's at, but it's right there by the stick. It's not a really good area to grow up in. But I used to go to games all the time. I watched Vida Blue and, Kingman and a lot of those guys play.
Right.
And I used to enjoy going to the ball game, and I took my family there later in life, and they enjoyed it. But as it went to Pac Bell, I took my kids there to watch the Dodgers and Giants because that's what I grew up watching. And it was just crazy. They brought in a paddy wagon and took out about 33 people, and they just parked the paddy wagon right there by the cheap seats and just started hauling them out. And I think a lot of it has to do trying to enjoy. What I'm getting at is trying to enjoy a game. The rap culture, which I grew up in, has taken more effect in some of these games, and it's put these guys at risk. Meaning, in other words, they jump around, they start high-fiving, and I'm not a racist in any way, but, I just think that they need to put more security at these places. That poor guy, Brian Stowe, took his family that ended up in the hospital. It's just gone to a different level because of money. And my last I want to say is, since 1933 to 1980 or 1998, only 2 guys came within to 61 home runs. Since 98 to 2013, we've had 6 guys over 60 home runs. So there's a big difference in that steroid era. And I think as far as the commissioner goes, I would ask him, since you're doing such a good job and you have the highest, the best testing, why isn't under your watch all this has happened? But before your watch, they didn't have this, so.
Well, I mean, look, you make my point for me when I talk about the devaluation of the home run statistic back during the prime years of the steroid era. You had everybody hitting home runs, and it was too commonplace. So I like the game as it is right. The second coming. Did you hear him, Kaplan? The second coming of Rush Limbaugh?
Yeah, it's got a nice ring to it.
It's pretty heady stuff there.
Very heady.
This is, the most successful talk show host in the history of the craft. That's, you're trying to make my head swell bigger than it already is. I'm not going to be able to get it out the door to go home after the show here today and tonight. Don't be telling me that. Second coming of Rush Limbaugh. As far as the fans are concerned, fan violence and overzealous fan activity is part and parcel of a sports world that continues to get murkier and darker on a day in and day out, month in and month out, year in and year out basis. It's unfortunate. It really is to see the level of fan hostilities risen to the points that they are, and people, fights in the stands. And he mentioned Brian Stowe, the Dodger fan who was, or the Giant fan, Brian Stowe, who was attacked at the Dodger Stadium a couple of years ago, and he's not close to being what he was prior to that game. And people, getting stabbed and people running. Didn't somebody run out on the field, the All-Star game at Citi Field tonight?
They did, yeah. Someone did.
Yeah, so it's, it continues. It's really unfortunate, man. Listen, I'm all for spontaneous. I love enthusiasm. I love loud crowds and raising the roof off a building and stuff like that. There's nothing better than that, but done in a spontaneous way. But you wear an opposing jersey into another team's building, and you're taking a risk that forget about the words that are going to come your way. People are going to throw things at you, and worst case scenario, somebody's going to confront you and punch you, kick you, do something, knock you down, and you're going to a ball game, and you got to put up with this stuff. The second coming of Rush Limbaugh. Wow, that's pretty good. And a guy tells me they just got an email from Clyde in Cleveland. You think this guy is in Cleveland, Kaplan? Didn't I get a call from Charles in Cleveland?
Yeah, Cleveland Heights.
So maybe this is the same guy. Clyde says I'm all wrong on the rap music thing. Well, I think as the Warrior said earlier on the show, I don't recall too many of those Western, East Coast, West Coast, old movie Western wars. Hey, you want to know the best rap song that's out there right now? You want to know the best rap song? I'll tell you the best rap song that's out there right now. I don't know if you guys have got this, but this, I'm going to play it right here in a second. This is the best rap song in America today. Listen to this.
It's the D-I-N-O coming to you live up on your radio. It's the D-I-N-O. It's the Dino Costa Show, bro.
Yeah.
It's the D-I-N-O coming to you live up on your radio. It's the D-I-N-O. It's the Dino Costa Show. If you can't stand the heat, stay out of the damn kitchen. Dino Costa is a man on a damn mission. Truth unscripted and all of his fans listen. Listen every night because you know that you can't miss him. Dino Radio, Dino on your TV set, Dino on your Sirius, Dino on your internet.
Word.
Dino's got more heart and desire, so listen to Steve Cohn when he says he's on fire. Andrew Kaplan producing it all, and Dino's on the mic just doing it all. Talking sports, he's an encyclopedia. And other radio shows, you know that he's beating you.
Right.
Real bad because he's speaking the truth. Across the U.S., he's big in Canada too.
Canada too.
Don't know what the man could do, because he's just getting started, plus he's better than you. And he's got the best show on SiriusXM, and his name is Dino Costa, so tell your friends that DC is a man on the rise with a new brand of sports talk, so open your eyes. It's like D.
Word to your mother.
To you live up on your radio. It's the D-I-N-O. It's the Dino Costa Show, bro. It's the D-I-N-O. Coming to you live up on your radio. It's the D-I-N-O. It's the Dino Costa Show, bro.
Doesn't get any better than that, baby. Nice and clean, no curse words. Nobody talking about killing someone, putting a cap in anybody's ass. The N-word is non-existent. You know, that's the best rap. That's the best rap song that's out there, right? Who's the artist there? What's that guy's name? To the Point or something like that? I forgot the guy's name. Big fan of the show. That's the best rap song that's out there, Kaplan. Ain't no better rap song than that.
No, not even close.
Aiken, check that. Salt Lake City, Utah. Mark is on the Dino Costa Show. Hi, Mark. Thanks for waiting.
Dino, man. Hey, I'm good. After 18 months away, dude, it's good to hear your voice still telling it like it is.
Where were you?
Oh, man, I was overseas doing some stuff, some contract work for the government. It was interesting.
Well, glad you're back.
I appreciate it. Hey, I don't want you to get the impression that I'm defending Roger Goodell, but, I mean, if you really think about it, he's the first commissioner of the NFL that is sitting in that chair during this era of Twitter and social media, and also the explosion of the NFL, where every franchise is worth $1 billion at least. So I think you see him sitting on the fence so much on these issues just because of the circumstances of where he's at in time and not necessarily who he is as a person. I think if Tagliabue would have had a Roddy White on his hands, he would have smashed him. But back then, you know, they didn't have multi-billions to consider and all these just different.
Yeah, but hold on. Why? I'm hearing you. But what would the reason? As I said before, I don't know if you heard. I don't know how much of the show you've heard, but the reason that he's not touching Roddy White or Victor Cruz or anybody else is because he's scared shitless to do so. Because there's because there's nothing but a downside for him if he does.
Exactly. Because of what he's managing, he's driving this gigantic cruise ship known as the NFL, and he's just got to stay right down the middle of that ocean. Otherwise, you know, he risks, people bailing off sponsors, all this just ridiculous. Cash corrupts everything. So, I mean, he may not be a bad dude, he may not be a good dude, but it's a byproduct of him is destroying the NFL. Do you kind of get what I'm saying?
Not really.
Well, I'll try to reframe my point another time, buddy.
No. Do it now. I mean, I want to know what you mean here.
I don't think Roger Goodell is a bad guy intent on destroying the NFL.
Really? Based upon what?
Just off intuition. I don't know the man. I don't claim to know him. I've never seen him, but I don't think that he would come into this position.
How old are you?
30.
30. All right. Well, I don't know if I can. Well, how much of the NFL do you remember? Do you believe that the NFL is better now in terms of the way that the product is on the field versus before?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
But hasn't Roger Goodell contributed to the downturn in play and the quality of the play on the field?
He has, but the things that people will cite will be the major red button issue with this is the concussions and the way they make him change, the way they're trying to make players change. And that's because this industry he is now managing has never, ever been bigger. So he has to walk an even finer line in the eyes of the owners.
But does that explain how he has dismantled and disfigured the competitiveness of the game on the field in terms of, taking a blowtorch and a pair of pliers to the game's rules and to the game's balance and the way that the game is being played, so on and so forth? He has done these things of his own volition, passed through suggestions that he's made to ownership, which in turn have made the game, has watered down the game considerably.
You're right. You're right. He's doing that not because he wants to destroy the NFL, because he wants more money coming in. That's why. And if the NFL, as it gains more awareness across the country, and as our wives and girlfriends and children are sitting down to watch this game more and more and more, if it gets labeled a gladiator, violent type sport, he's trying to protect the future of it, and he's trying to keep those big, high corporate dollars rolling in that has got it where it is today. That's just my opinion. You live in this world. You're around it more often than I am, clearly, and I just wanted to throw that out there and see what you had to say.
All right, Mark. Well, listen, thanks for your call and welcome back to the States. Glad to have you and glad you're back in the audience here. But there's a little bit something that puzzles me with what Mark said. That, heaven forbid the NFL be labeled a gladiator sport. For as long as I've been watching the NFL, and this goes back to the early 1970s, 1971, the first season I can really vividly remember of NFL football, the NFL has been a gladiator sport and has been couched and presented as a gladiator sport forever. See, the thing is, I get back to this. I know this sounds awfully redundant because I've been here many times before, but nobody was running away from the NFL when Roger Goodell took over. Well, they've got to do this, they've got to curb that, they've got to tweak this because, if the sport gets too violent, the sport was as violent as ever in the 70s on into the 80s, and the growth that accompanied the sport from the 80s to the 90s on into this new century. The sport was gladiatorial-like. The sport was hard-hitting. The sport was ferocious. Nobody was fleeing. This is my point. How many times have I said to you all, can you show me the pictures of season ticket holders in parking lots at Arrowhead Stadium, at Heinz Field in Pittsburgh, at the Meadowlands Giant Stadium, down in Miami, down in Houston, in Dallas, where they were holding rallies? Fans were just disgusted at the state of affairs in the National Football League. It was too gladiatorial-like. It was too knuckle-dragging and Neanderthal-like. We're burning our season tickets into a 55-gallon drum to protest this NFL, which has gotten out of control from a physicality standpoint. When did this happen? Show me the pickets in front of the NFL's offices on Park Avenue in New York. Concerned moms holding their toddlers and strollers, marching around in a circle, complaining that the NFL became too barbarian and they couldn't allow their kids to watch it and mothers didn't like it. And other people joined them in the fracas outside of the NFL offices and said, the NFL must change. The NFL must change. It's too barbaric. It's too this. It's too that. When did these things happen? Because I missed this. Also, show me the story. Send me the links where Procter & Gamble, Budweiser, Coors, Clorox, I don't care what company, show me. All of these companies which told the NFL either you change your ways or you don't get our advertising and marketing dollars anymore. When did this happen? When were sponsors leaving in droves? When you're done with those three things, then show me the television executives who just refuse to pony up the billions of dollars to attach said network with the NFL symbol and shield. When did this happen? When did they refuse to pay the NFL what the NFL wanted? When? Because it was too barbaric. It was too galactic. It was too gladiatorial-like. It was too, it was too everything. I missed all these things. I missed the fans burning the tickets, staying away from the stadiums. I missed the mom circling in front of Park Avenue in the NFL offices saying it had become too barbaric, knuckle-dragging, and Neanderthal-like. I missed the television executives not willing to pony up the massive dollars for NFL telecasts on their networks. All right, I missed all this, and I missed the advertisers and the marketing dollars saying, no, that's we'll take our dollars and put them on baseball or football or soccer or something like that. When did all this stuff happen? Because I missed it. Listen, the person that has fed into this mythic perpetuation of gloom and doom, and the game is lacking and it's less popular and it's going to become less appealable to people, all people, is Roger Goodell himself. He's the one driving this the sky is falling misery ship. He's the guy at the controls. He's got his hands on the steering wheel. Nobody else. You've bought into this propaganda that has been spewed out of the mouth of Goodell himself. Why do you think I go bonkers with this? Nobody told the NFL that it was too barbaric or too hard-hitting or too this or nobody. We loved the NFL the way the NFL was. The way the NFL was. It hurts me. I'm pained when I say that was instead of the word is. Man. It's horrible. Mike in Aiken, South Carolina has been holding on for just about an hour. He's on the Dino Costa Show, Hour 4 on this Tuesday. Hello, Mike.
And I'd have held on another hour for you, brother.
How you doing, man?
71, brother, that's when I start following. My Dolphins played the Dallas Cowboys. The 71 Cowboys beat my Dolphins. And you know what? When are they going to pinch this Goodell turd off, man? I'm serious. Let me ask you a question, Dino. You want arena football at a high level?
That's what we have now.
Do you want physical, kick-ass, 3 to 4 yards in a cloud of dust? Beast out there going at it.
That's what I want. You know what? You can't handle it. Turn off the TV. And if you don't want to play in the league, get the hell out. There'll be somebody else who does want to play. Give me the NFL when men played in the NFL, when the game was its greatest. Please, if I talk too much about it, Mike, I'm going to start crying because you know why? Because that NFL is never coming back.
I know. I've been telling people what you've been saying down here about, look, they won't even get in a three-point stance. Eventually they'll be standing up because there might be too much head collision and stuff. It's freaking football.
No. And you know something? You think some people hear you and me say that, and you just said it, that the three-point stance is going to be the next thing that's going to go. You know, the sad thing is that this is not a joke. This is actually going to happen. I believe in our lifetime, I believe in the next 5 or 6 years, the three-point stance will be eliminated.
That's crazy as hell, isn't it? You know, I mean,
but it's realistic. It's not pie in the sky, dreaming. Goodell wants this to happen.
Yeah, well, they need to pinch Goodell off. I've had enough of this turd. And listen, to all the Raider fans out there, I hate the Raiders since the See a Hands game, 1974, December, back when me and you was in the 6th grade. But I tell you what, it would hurt me to see them leave Oakland. I hope they work this out and they stay there. I hope Cobweb somewhere out driving his rig and hears me. Because, but a part of the original AFL was your Jets and my Dolphins and the Oakland Raiders. But let me tell you this there. The hell with Jon Stewart and Bill O'Reilly. I want to see Dino Costa and Keith Olbermann go at it. That would be like King Kong against Godzilla. You two, I could see doing good sports stuff and then also getting the political viewpoints in. That would be awesome, Dino. I would pay money to see that shit.
I'll tell you an interesting story. It's funny you mention that. Not going to name the guy, but a buddy of mine a couple of years ago, when Olbermann was still at MSNBC, joined MSNBC as one of the several producers of the I think it was called Countdown at the time with Keith Olbermann. He tried to talk MSNBC officials into more of a balanced sort of a political television show that would have me on one side and some not Olbermann specifically, but someone like Olbermann on the other side. And he thought it would make for great television theater. But the powers that be at MSNBC are so emboldened in their liberal stance that they wanted nothing to do with any kind of a fiscal or a conservative, a fiscal or societal, social issues conservative being on their airwaves. So it never went past the drawing board.
That'd been freaking awesome. I mean, Oberman's no dumbass. I'm with you, man. He's a smart guy. I loved him. I mean, not loved him. I liked him a lot when he was at ESPN. He's
Very smart guy. Very smart guy.
Yeah, and I like shit like that. And so are you. You putting you on one side, him on another. I told you, King Kong versus Godzilla. It would be great, man. It'd be great for radio, TV, and all that. And forget freaking, all the other shit. You two could really, I mean, that would be. Somebody one time called in and said they'd like to see you and Russo go at it day. No, you chew him up. That would be good because he would come with his stuff, and it would be great stuff. And one thing about anniversaries. You know what? It's been about a week ago was the anniversary of the first time I ever talked to you.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah,
you remember that day, huh?
Yeah, it was early July last year, brother. We talked about stuff. Then we talked about tithing and rain and everything else, man. We've come a long way in the last year, Dino. We've come a long way, brother.
Long way, baby.
And we're going to go a long way further. Have a good night, and Dino, God bless you. It's always a pleasure.
Keep it shaking, Mike, in the city of Aiken, South Carolina, that is. Keep it shaking and aching. They ain't faking. It's shaking and aching. No question about it. Milwaukee, Wisconsin, USA. Here is Josh on the Dino Costa Show. Hi, Josh.
Hi, how's it going?
Hi, Josh.
Well, I'm listening to you here in the car, and I can understand your points on Goodell. But, personally, I think that a lot of it has to do with, the NFLPA, Players Association, and how they're representing their players now. And you're seeing a lot of news come about with all these hard hits from the 70s and the 80s of the NFL.
Well, no. What you mean? Okay, but bring the NFLPA out of it because the NFLPA is completely against how Goodell is transfiguring the game. What you mean to say
Correct.
What you mean to say is the 4,000 some odd names that are a part of a class action lawsuit.
Right.
Okay. To have my league, if I'm Roger Goodell, strong armed by a bunch of maggots. 4,000 strong, most of them on the balls of their financial ass looking for a handout, trying to categorize my league, the league that fed them for so well for so many years, that gave them a degree of celebrity that they've never enjoyed since, to allow 4,000 of those maggots to try to turn over my league. You think if I'm the commissioner of the NFL, I'm going to let that happen?
No, but I think that's why he's come to the point where he has no choice but to institute these.
No, you're wrong. You're wrong, Josh. He does. No, but you're wrong. He does have a choice. He's always had a choice. And his choice has always been to back up and play defense, to continue to allow them to take they want another inch, they take another yard. He has not defended his league. He has not defended his sport. He has not defended the industry of football once in all the time that these maggots, these dead-to-me players, and all of you know who you are, ever since they got together and they sought to shake down the NFL the way that they're doing in such disgusting, embarrassing, pathetic, and shameless ways. And Goodell has been backpedaling from the jump. A strong leader, a man of vision, a man of integrity, a man who would defend his sport and his industry, never would have allowed them to infiltrate as much as they have to affect the balance and the great fabric of the game of football the way that these maggots have. Every one of them dead to me. Back with more after this. Just looking at the box score here. The All-Star game, which is probably going to be over by the time I get home because they're in the aren't they in the top of the 8th right now, Kaplan?
They are.
Did somebody just triple? Jason Kipnis?
I believe it did, yeah.
It is 3-0 American League. And the National League has 2 hits. 2 hits. Beltran and David Wright of the Mets. Meanwhile, the American League is banged out. 8 hits so far. I don't know how much you've been able to watch this game, Kaplan. Is there a front runner for the MVP of the game?
No, I bet it's Rivera pitches will probably get it.
I'm just looking to see if anybody's got more than 2 hits here for the American League squad. No. Nope. How'd my Rockies do?
Not great.
Cargo 0 for 2 with a strikeout. Chulo 0 for 2 with a strikeout. Kadire 0 for 1, but he did get on base with a walk. Bryce Harper, 0 for 2. Mike Trout, 1 for 3. No, I didn't miss anything. Hold on. All right, here we go. By now, you've probably heard about the whole home HD DVR from Dish. It's called the Hopper. It has a bunch of amazing features like Auto Hop, which gives you the power to skip all the commercials for most primetime shows from the major networks. All you've got to do is enable it once when you play back the show. Then you can just put down the remote, skip all the commercials. This is a great feature because when you try to fast forward through commercials with a normal DVR, it never really works. Now you can finally watch your favorite shows totally uninterrupted all the way through from beginning to end, completely commercial-free. So if you love watching primetime network television shows but you hate watching commercials, the Auto Hop feature is perfect for you. It only comes with the Hopper from Dish. Watch more TV, watch fewer commercials, all with the Hopper from Dish. Call 1-800-WATCH-TV to get Dish Network today, 1-800-WATCH-TV. Plans are starting at just $29.99, and that is a simple and easy-to-remember phone number. It's 1-800-WATCH-TV.
He's the new mainstream in sports commentary and opinion. Dino Radio, the Dino Costa Show, and he's right here on SiriusXM's Mad Dog Radio.
The last bend at 12 minutes to the hour. We jump to the top of the next hour. That's when Scott Wetzel comes by, and he's got Nightcap as he's filling in for Bill Lekkus, who's either at the All-Star Game or watching the All-Star Game at home. This has just not been, the thing with the All-Star Game, it's just, and, I've talked about this before, it's just not been must-see television for me for, my goodness, I was just going to say 10 years. It extends well past 10 years. The All-Star Game has not been must-watch television for me since probably somewhere in the early 90s, probably 92, 93. And, of course, back then we didn't have the All-Star Game, the winner representing the league that gets home field advantage in the World Series, which is absurd and always has been. And as I've noted recently on shows here, that it's interesting to me that only now are we seeing some writers starting to question the wisdom of having the winning league grant its league the home field advantage in the World Series. Only now, when this was an absolutely moronic call, the moment it was announced. And, of course, back then, all the columnists and the writers, it's great. Boy, the All-Star Game means something. The All-Star Game has never meant less than it means today. When the game didn't matter in terms of, putting a bounty on the game in some way, shape, or form, that's when the game meant everything. But the slackening of my enthusiasm for the All-Star Game really started back, I would say, maybe from 1990, 1991, I would have to say. And it started when players started begging off, because then I couldn't use the excuse, of course, that I couldn't object to the All-Star Game with the notion that I find it absurd that the winning team gets home field advantage for their league. It was when the game took on much less relevance for the participants, is when the game started taking on much less relevance for me, because growing up with baseball in the 70s and the 80s, the game at that time, it moved the needle. The game had a tangible feel to it, of importance, even though it was the most unimportant game that was being played. It was a ball game back then. Now it's a spectacle. And to me, all these All-Star games, and you can include baseballs in there as well. And if you ask me which of the All-Star games that remains is still the game that is probably the best. If you had to lock me in a room and torture me with one All-Star game above all others, I would want to see the baseball All-Star game. But all of them are used now as marketing vehicles, is what they are. It's more or less a marketing vehicle to enhance and broaden the game's appeal. It is played more so for league sponsors, those that funnel their monies, their dollars into the coffers of Major League Baseball, or in the instance of the NBA, or any of the other leagues, the same thing. Which I guess is why, because the game doesn't mean anything, and the game is a spectacle more than a ball game now, which is why I wanted to see Yasiel Puig in this game. Because if it is a marketing vehicle, if it is something that is used to sell the game, to broaden the game's popularity, as much as an all-star game can do something like that, then Puig, to me, needed to be in the game. Simply because if you're trying to grow the game, then Puig's got to be there. He's the hot commodity right now. But I yearn for a day where the All-Star game was something that was must-see. The Midsummer Classic, as it used to be called, is anything but a classic now. It's a marketing tool, is what it is. The players don't care. There is no more league pride. The umpires are not split between American League and National League umpires. It's universal. It's a much, much different and much less appealing product than it used to be. And that's sad. That's sad. Listen, if the national championship game in college football was on tonight, I'd feel like I was missing something. I probably would have taken the show off, as I did last year when Alabama and Notre Dame met in the national championship game. Tonight, as it gets to be close to 11 o'clock on the East Coast and they're late in that game, I feel like I've missed nothing. I feel like I've missed absolutely and positively nothing. Get me back to the 2013 regular season as soon as you can, and that starts, of course, tomorrow. Is tomorrow, Kaplan, they get back to playing real games?
I don't know. I thought it was.
Or is it Friday?
I think it's Friday.
Is it Friday? You want to check? You may want to check on that.
Yeah.
But get me back
It
to
is
the
Friday.
Get me back to the regular season. That's the day that I'm back in on this thing. Monroe, New York. Sabrina is on the Dino Costa Show, hour 4 on a Tuesday. Hi, Sabrina.
Hey, Big Day. I'm
How
so
are you?
glad to be back.
Thanks.
Good. I was just curious to your thoughts on the Mo standing ovation just now. I'm sure you heard about it.
Well, he's deserving, right? I mean, I have no problem with that. He's arguably the greatest closer of all time.
Okay. I just came from FanFest. I have to say it was pretty good.
Down at the Javits Center?
Yeah.
What'd you like about it?
Well, it was good to see Mets fans out again.
Yeah.
There's lots and lots of David Wright jerseys out. I was surprised there wasn't so many Matt Harveys, although a lot of David Wrights. Everyone keeps saying that Matt Harvey is the best-selling jersey right now. Any thoughts on that?
Yes, that I'm surprised if that's a fact.
Yeah,
I know he's.
Every
Listen,
5 feet it was number 5, number 5, number 5, which I had a bag on that was, David Wright.
Yeah. Listen, I love Matt Harvey. There's no question about it. Who wouldn't love Matt Harvey? But if he's the number one selling jersey right now, I'm shocked, man.
That's what they're saying.
Yeah. Well, what did it cost you to get in?
$30. It was $5 off if you had a MasterCard, Citibank.
And what did they have down there? I mean, was it just a?
Just like different things for kids to do, and I don't have kids, so I just kind of went like last minute. Just stupid things like question, and they had Rod Fingers was there, Cameron was there, Mike Cameron from the Mets. He was on MLB. He was broadcasting live with the 2 MLB guys.
Right.
And just some different things for you to do. And then they had a lot of cool memorabilia, like the Negro Leagues. They had a lot of cool stuff. And then, different
What was it? Did you feel like your $30 were well spent? Was it worth it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Good.
I have to say, they did a good job. I checked out some of the apples around the city. That was pretty cool. So.
Good side. Did you work in the city?
No, I live in Orange County, so just outside.
Okay.
But not too far. But I thought it was worth the money. I thought it was pretty cool and bring some spirit back to New York. I think we needed it.
Good stuff, Sabrina. Good stuff. Well, thanks for your call. I appreciate
I'm
it.
so glad you're still on the air. I'm so glad to hear you back.
I'm here. I ain't going anywhere.
It was funny because when the Howard Stern stuff was on a couple, like maybe 10, 15, 20 minutes ago,
Yeah.
I was laughing because I was switching back and forth from Stern to you. You're
Thanks,
the sports Howard Stern, just so you know.
There you go. I appreciate it. Thank you. Sabrina, Kaplan, Milan, great job, Mr. Joshua. Here comes Scott Wetzel. He's got the nightcap. Have a great night. Dino Radio returns, Lord willing, tomorrow on a Wednesday.